Discover how a heartwarming act by a little girl changed a lonely millionaire's life forever. In the quaint suburban town of Maplewood, a little girl named Mia dreamed fiercely. With her bright eyes and an overflowing heart, she envisioned making a difference. Every Saturday, she would volunteer at the community center, where laughter danced through the air like confetti. It was her happy place, filled with families, games, and love. But beneath that cheerful facade simmered a sense of something missing. Whispers curled around her like fog, speaking of Mr. Thompson, the reclusive millionaire living in the grand mansion on the edge of town. Curiosity sparked in Mia's heart. The legendary tales of Mr. Thompson spoke of wealth and power, but his story was steeped in loss and sorrow. One day, with all the courage her 10-year-old frame could muster, she skipped to that grand door and knocked. When he answered, she braced herself. A towering figure draped in an aura of loneliness awaited her. He stood amidst luxurious decor, yet his eyes were heavy with unshed tears. Purely out of kindness, Mia brought him homemade cookies and those sweet little giggles only children possess. With each visit, she found joy in Mr. Thompson's stories, tales of a life once filled with love and laughter, before tragedy struck. She filled his once lonely mansion with warmth, scattering light in the shadows. But when news of Mr. Thompson's failing health rippled through the community, it felt like a punch to Mia's gut. Her mother organized a potluck, a wonderful tradition of neighbors uniting, yet whispers wound like tendrils of smoke, thickening the air with tension. "He has everything, yet nothing," someone mumbled. "Why should we care about him?" Another spat. Mia's heart clenched painfully in her chest. Hadn't she opened her heart, only to have it trampled by the judgments of others? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the potluck buzzed with gossip, a misunderstanding cracked the fragile bridge Mia had built with Mr. Thompson. A gentle gesture was misinterpreted, tearing open wounds they thought had healed. Doubt shadowed his heart, and fear began to fester in Mia's chest. In a world that was supposed to bring them together, division threatened to pull them apart. It felt as though the warmth they ignited was now at the mercy of indifference. Standing on the brink of losing each other, Mia felt a surge of determination. Their connection was undeniable, far more valuable than any dollar amount or bitter comment. They needed to confront the barriers built by misunderstanding and learn what truly binds people together: love, kindness, and the courage to break through the walls of social barriers. Would they embrace that essential bond or allow the weight of prejudice and doubt to burst their budding friendship? As they hovered between despair and hope, their eyes met. In that brief moment, the real battle of hearts began. A tender moment drenched in possibility lingered just within reach. Would Mr. Thompson redefine his legacy, shaped by the innocent heart of a little girl? Mia took a deep breath, squeezing the edges of her favorite tattered denim jacket. In that precious moment when their eyes locked, she felt that spark, the thread of an unlikely friendship woven through shared laughter and whispered stories. Yet the chilling whispers from the community crept back into her mind. Doubt and misunderstanding had been like weeds, threatening to strangle the delicate bond they had nurtured. She couldn't let that happen. "Mr. Thompson," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart, "I know they say things about you, but I want you to know." Her words trailed off as uncertainty swirled around her. She bit her lip, thinking about her mother's advice to stand strong against the noise of the world. "I believe you still have a heart full of kindness." The hurt in Mr. Thompson's eyes softened slightly. She could see the glimmer of hope flickering, struggling against the gloominess that had settled thick in the mansion. "Mia, sometimes it's hard to keep believing, especially when everyone else has already decided who you are," he replied, his voice a low rumble, filled with an ache she could almost touch. "But you are more than your past," Mia insisted, her little hands firm on the table between them, almost grounding them both in that moment. "I've seen it. You tell the best stories, you make me laugh, and you care about the world so much. I think we can change those whispers together." Mr. Thompson regarded her, a mix of admiration and uncertainty passing over his features. Her bright spirit was almost overwhelming, like sunlight breaking through a cloudy day. But could it truly shatter the walls he had built? Moments before, he had felt only the cold weight of isolation. Now this determined child was offering warmth and hope. "How can we change it?" "They won't listen," he mumbled, the shadows in his tone hanging heavy. "By showing them," she blurted out, her heart pounding with enthusiasm. "You could help at the community center. Everyone loves new activities. You could share your stories or teach us something new. If they see you care, surely they'll see what I see." Mr. Thompson's brow furrowed, the idea settling like a stone in the still waters of his mind. "What if they don't accept me? What if they turn against you for being friends with me?" Mia leaned closer, her eyes brightening. "I won't let them. I'll always stand by you. Besides, I think you'll surprise them. Just look at how much you've surprised me." A flicker of resolve washed over his expression, and for a heartbeat, Mia thought she saw the man who had once felt so lost, beginning to emerge from the shadows. "Maybe just once, I could give it a try," he finally said, a ghost of a smile flitting across his face. Eagerly, Mia clapped her hands in glee. The vision of a community united was forming in her mind, filled with laughter, stories, and friendships growing like wildflowers. But as plans began to take shape, a heavier reality weighed upon them both. Would the townsfolk truly be willing to let go of their fears and prejudices? Would they welcome Mr. Thompson back into their lives? Mia could sense the tension still lingering in the air, a quiet storm threatening to erupt. With a heart full of hope, she looked at Mr. Thompson, ready to step into the battlefield of their shared journey. Little did they know that their confrontation would spark not only a change in Maplewood but could potentially turn their lives upside down in ways they had never imagined. As they began to make a plan, a figure watched from the shadows just outside the grand mansion, eyes filled with a mixture of concern and rage. A decision was about to unfold that could change everything. Would they be prepared for the battle ahead? As the sun dipped behind the trees, casting long shadows across the sprawling mansion, Mia and Mr. Thompson sat together in a hopeful bubble of plans and dreams. The room was filled with an electricity that hummed in the air, the kind that comes before a storm or a beautiful dawn. Yet, out in the periphery, darkness loomed. "I really think you could make a difference," Mia said, her bright smile cutting through the dimness of the room. "We could start with a storytelling night at the center. Everyone loves stories, especially fun ones like the ones you tell." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Mr. Thompson couldn't help but feel a flicker of excitement kindling within him. Maybe I could share something from my travels," he mused, a hint of that old spark creeping back into his voice. "Yes. And not just that. You could also help with art classes, too. You draw beautifully." Mia's eyes lit up as she spoke, painting vivid pictures in her mind. "I can help you set everything up, and we can create colorful posters to invite everyone." "Posters?" Mr. Thompson chuckled softly, feeling warmth spread through his chest. It had been so long since he had laughed freely like that. "You're full of surprises, Mia." The laughter, however, was short-lived as a shadow flickered at the window, catching Mr. Thompson's eye. He turned, sensing the weight lurking just outside the walls. A chill crept through him. "She knows better than to come here," he whispered, filling the space with a gravity that hung like an unwelcome guest. "Who?" Mia asked, curiosity sparking in her eyes. "Someone who doesn't like change, someone who believes I should stay alone," he sighed, feeling old wounds reopen. This pain was all too familiar. Suddenly, the door swung open, revealing Mrs. Delaney, the town's self-appointed keeper of morals and secrets. She stepped in, her expression carved from granite, arms crossed tightly over her chest. What do you think you're doing, Thompson? She demanded, her voice sharp enough to cut through the air. Mia felt a pang of worry, glancing quickly toward Mr. Thompson. We were just enough. Mrs. Delaney interrupted, her tone brokering no argument. You don't belong here. This isn't a place for you to chat and plan. Haven't you caused enough trouble? Mr. Thompson's heart sank. It was like a cold rain showering over the flickering warmth Mia had brought. I'm just trying to connect with the community, he said weakly, looking for understanding in her unyielding gaze. All you do is bring darkness, she replied, shaking her head with a disdain that made Mia's stomach churn. You think they'll accept you back? You're dreaming. Mia stepped forward, feeling a newfound strength. They don't know you like I do. You're not just your past. You're amazing. She felt her pulse quickening, urgency mingling with determination. I want to let them push you away. Mrs. Delaney narrowed her eyes, dismissing Mia's pleas. Don't be foolish, child. Some friendships are harmful. The history of this town cannot be forgotten just because you have a soft spot for a broken man. Frustration bubbled in Mia's chest as passion surged through her. But change is coming, and I'll make sure they see what I see. You can't keep hiding behind fear. The confrontation hung in the air, thick and charged. Mr. Thompson watched, torn between fear and pride, as Mia stood tall against the menace of silence dripping from Mrs. Delaney. It was then that a thought struck him. Mia, he said softly, what if they do turn against you? Before she could answer, Mrs. Delaney spun on her heel, the battle lost as she walked out with one last scornful look. In that moment, Mr. Thompson understood the weight of the choice that lay ahead. Could they really change the town? Facing whispers and anger, the way forward felt like walking into a hurricane. But with Mia beside him, perhaps they could weather it together. As darkness settled and uncertainty loomed, hope sparked like a shooting star tonight. But something deeper stirred beneath the surface of their resolve. What if the battle wasn't just against others but within themselves? A decision had to be made. Would they take the leap into the unknown together, or would the shadows draw them apart once more? The heavy door closed with a soft thud, leaving Mr. Thompson and Mia surrounded by the silence that seemed to echo Mrs. Delaney's parting words. Mr. Thompson withdrew into himself, the warmth from their earlier laughter quickly evaporating into the chilly air of doubt. Mr. Thompson. Mia's voice was gentle, breaking the stillness like a bird's song in the quiet of dawn. Are you okay? He forced a smile, one that didn't quite reach his eyes. I'll be fine. He paused, staring at the floor as if it held all the answers. It's just hard to shake off the past. Mia took a step closer, her heart racing. But you don't have to face it alone. She looked up at him with such intensity that he could hardly look away. We can work together. We can show them you're more than what they think. Let's plan that storytelling night. The fire in her voice ignited something in him. You really believe I can make a difference? He asked, not entirely convinced. Just then, sparks of hope flickered, battling the remnants of doubt swirling in his chest. I do. People need to see who you are now. Not who you once were. They need to hear your stories. She beamed, her enthusiasm weaving its way around the fear that gripped him. A warmth flickered in his chest, battling the shadows that sought to swallow him whole. Was it possible? Could they really inspire others to look beyond his past? What if we fail? He muttered, vulnerability creeping into his tone. Mia shook her head. Failure is just a step toward growth. You taught me that through your stories, right? Every adventure has ups and downs. Her innocence was a balm to his heart. He searched her eyes, the belief shining there giving him strength to confront his fears. But it won't be easy. There will be backlash. If we don't try, we'll never know. And if they push back, we'll stand tall. Together. He let her words settle over him like a warm blanket, and as he contemplated the possibility, a flicker of determination ignited. "You're right," he said finally, his voice steadying. "I can't keep hiding from who I am. With you by my side, I'll go for it." Mia jumped up, joy illuminating her features. "Yes. I knew you could do it. We'll start brainstorming tonight." Eager and excited, she whipped out her phone, her fingers dancing across the screen as she jotted down ideas. "Let us create a storytelling night poster. We'll make it bright and fun." The creative energy filled the room, weaving new plans over the remnants of tension. Every moment felt lighter as they sketched out ideas, their laughter ringing like a bell of hope. But as night deepened, shadows whispered at the edges of their dreams, and unease gnawed at Mr. Thompson's mind. "Mia, if the townsfolk turn against you for standing by me," she interrupted him with a fierce gaze. "It doesn't matter. This isn't just about you or me. It's about bringing joy and change. We have to believe that they can see what we see." Her determination pulsed like a heartbeat, resonating deeply within him. Together, they crafted plans as stars twinkled outside, tiny glimmers of hope against the vast night sky. But uncertainties lingered, wrapping around his thoughts like fog. Would they be ready for the storm that might come? Would the town embrace a new dawn? Suddenly, the door creaked again. Mr. Thompson's heart skipped. It was thin enough to hear Mrs. Delaney's footsteps approaching from outside. Mia looked up, startled, but then her expression hardened, resolve brightening her features once more. "We can do this," she whispered, squeezing his hand tightly. As the footsteps stopped outside and the air grew tense, both knew they had taken their first step into battle. Would they rise to face their fears together or retreat back into the shadows? In the deepening silence, they prepared themselves for whatever lay ahead, with a flicker of hope guiding their way. The air thickened, and Mr. Thompson's pulse quickened as he felt a mix of dread and anticipation. What would Mrs. Delaney say? Would she bring the harsh truths of their town's judgments crashing down around them? The door swung open slowly, revealing not Mrs. Delaney, but young Emily, the girl from earlier who had delivered the flyer. She looked small framed against the broader doorway, clutching something tightly in her hands. Her eyes were wide with excitement. "Mr. Thompson. Mia. I just had to come back," Emily chirped, her enthusiasm a stark contrast to the gravity of their moment. "What's up, Emily?" Mr. Thompson managed to say, relief washing over him. She bounced on her toes, the energy sparking like a live wire. "I just told my dad what we're doing. He thinks it's amazing. He said he wants to help with the storytelling night." Mr. Thompson stared at her, stunned. "Help how?" "I don't know yet. But he's got connections. Maybe he can set up a stage or bring some lights." As she spoke, Mia's face lit up. "That's incredible, Emily." There was a spark of joy igniting in Mia's heart, boosting her earlier confidence like a flare in the night sky. "But what if people don't like you?" The question tousled the air, and Emily's voice dipped slightly, a hint of that innocent worry resurfacing. Mr. Thompson knelt to meet her gaze, the weight of his experiences hanging heavy in the air. "Some people might not understand," he began, choosing his words carefully, "but that's why we're doing this. We want to show them. We want them to see the man I am now, not the mistakes I made before." Emily nodded slowly, considering his words with the gravity of her years. A bright smile returned to her face, and Mr. Thompson found comfort partly in her innocence. It was refreshing, like a cool breeze on a hot day. "I can help, too. I'll make posters, and I can tell everyone in school." She beamed, fists clenched in determination. "Great idea." Mia chimed in, her spirits lifting further as the weight of uncertainty eased off. "You can be our little ambassador, Emily. This is going to be the best night ever." Mr. Thompson felt something unfurl within him, a sensation he hadn't had in years. It blended worry and hope in a symphonic balance. Maybe they would succeed. Maybe he wasn't alone in this after all. Just then, the door swung wide open again, and this time it was Mrs. Delaney. Her entrance was met with mixed emotions. Fear sparked in Mr. Thompson while expectation danced in Mia and Emily's eyes. "Mia, Mr. Thompson, I hope I'm not interrupting." There it was again, the weight of her presence. But Mr. Thompson straightened himself. "No, you're just in time. We were just starting to make plans for the storytelling night," he said boldly, surprising even himself. Mrs. Delaney raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Are you now?" "Yes." Mia chimed in, standing beside Mr. Thompson with pride. "And Emily has some great ideas of what we can do." Mrs. Delaney hesitated, but something flickered across her face, a hint of interest. "That's good to hear, but the townsfolk, they can be resistant to change. Then let us show them just how powerful a story can be. What they need is to see the heart behind it," Mr. Thompson added, his voice gaining strength. Mrs. Delaney's expression softened slightly. "Perhaps that's true. But we need to make sure it's done right." The challenge lay before them, and as they exchanged glances, a collective determination electrified the air. "Together," Mia echoed, squeezing both Emily's and Mr. Thompson's hands. But a new uncertainty clouded Mr. Thompson's mind. Could they truly unite the town? Would they open hearts or face the storm of judgment that lay ahead? He searched the room, feeling the weight of that challenge settle in his bones. As conversation started to swirl, a thought nagged at the back of his mind: were they really ready to bring this change? Would people walk through the door with open hearts, or would the shadows of the past shut them out entirely? These questions lingered, unresolved, echoing in the silence of the room as new plans began to take shape. The laughter faded into the background as anticipation filled the air. Mr. Thompson's mind raced, but he focused on the excitement radiating from Mia and Emily. They were wearing smiles that could light up the darkest room, offering him a glimmer of hope amidst the swirling clouds of doubt. "Well then," Mrs. Delaney stepped forward, her posture shifting with renewed purpose. "Let us discuss what logistics we need to get this storytelling night off the ground. We'll want to attract as many people as possible." Mia practically bounced on her feet. "We can start with flyers. Emily can help distribute them, and I can take some to the community center." "Good thinking," Mrs. Delaney replied, her approval igniting a fire in Mia's chest. "And for the venue, we might consider the old school auditorium. It's got seating for a decent crowd." Emily clapped her hands. "Oh, I love that place. The acoustics are really good." Mr. Thompson felt a warmth blossom in his chest. He hadn't been to the auditorium since it had fallen into disuse. The memories flooded back: kids laughing, families enjoying time together. That could work, he agreed, a hint of enthusiasm creeping into his voice. The planning continued, filled with ideas for skits, themes, even guest storytellers. As the momentum built, a knot of unease still lingered in Mr. Thompson's stomach. What if it all fell apart? "Mr. Thompson," Mia's voice brought him back to the moment. "What stories do you want to share?" His heart dropped slightly, the weight of his past seemed to bear down on him. He had so many stories, but none of them were easy to tell. Would he truly be ready to share the struggles and scars that shaped him? I think I want to tell my own story. It's not pretty, but yes." Emily interjected, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "People need to hear it. They'll understand." "But what if they don't?" The words slipped out before he could stop them. The fear of rejection clawed up from deep within. He glanced at Mia and Emily, searching their faces for hints of doubt. "Everyone has struggles, Mr. Thompson," Mia said softly. "It's about showing that we can rise from them. Your story could inspire someone else to do the same." "Exactly," Emily added, bouncing on her toes again. "You could be like a hero to them." His heart swelled at their faith in him. "You really think so?" "Definitely." Mia nodded fervently. "You're already showing us that change is possible. Just look at us all coming together like this." In that moment, Mr. Thompson realized he didn't just have a chance to tell his story. He had the chance to build bridges, to reconnect with the town he once withdrew from. It was more than just a night of storytelling, it was a way to bring healing to himself and others. "All right, let us do it," he said, determination flooding his voice. "For all the stories and all the hearts out there that need mending, I'm in." As the meeting continued, plans poured from everyone's lips like a rushing river. Laughter filled the room as they brainstormed ideas, and even Mrs. Delaney seemed lighter than before. The air hummed with possibilities. However, deep down, Mr. Thompson felt the faint stirrings of fear. What if the night didn't go as planned? What if the old doubts resurfaced? A sudden silence fell over the group, and he looked at both girls. "Do you really believe that we can change people's minds?" Their eyes glinted with unwavering belief, a mirror of the hope he desperately wanted to grasp. But doubt lingered, a shadow over the brightness. That night, as they wrapped up, Mr. Thompson could not shake the feeling that their town's fears and prejudices might yet loom large. Walking out into the cool evening air, he felt the burden of their hopes on his shoulders. He looked back at Mia and Emily, their silhouettes framed by the warm glow of the doorway. "We have to be ready for anything," he murmured, though another part of him was fueled by the fire they ignited. What would happen as storytelling night approached? Would they succeed in their venture to unite the town? He couldn't shake that fermenting doubt, but as they walked together, he understood this journey was just beginning. As they reached their separate ways, he took one last glance back, hope flickering in his heart. But a nagging feeling brushed against his mind. Was he truly ready to face what awaited? Mr. Thompson found himself tossing and turning in bed that night. The words of Mia and Emily echoed in his mind, urging him to find the courage to share. Each time he closed his eyes, visions of the auditorium danced before him, filled with people from all walks of life, listening in rapture. But soon those hopeful images faded, replaced by shadows of doubt and fear. What if the townsfolk didn't want to hear his story? What if they rejected him all over again? He shook his head, trying to dispel the rising anxiety. This night was supposed to be about connection, about healing. Still, the anxiety gripped his heart like a vice, squeezing tighter with each passing minute. He finally managed to drift off, only to be jolted awake by a persistent sound. The faint rustle of paper pulled him from his sleep. He narrowed his eyes, struggling to focus, and there, at the edge of his vision, he caught Mia quietly assembling flyers at her kitchen table, the dim light of the lamp illuminating her determined expression. "Mia?" he mumbled sleepily as he stumbled to the kitchen. "What are you doing up?" "I couldn't sleep," Mia admitted, glancing up with a smile. "I was just getting all the flyers ready for storytelling night. We need to make it special." As if suddenly ignited by her energy, Mr. Thompson felt the remnants of his own fear begin to peel away. Her youthful enthusiasm was infectious, wrapping around him, sparking a warmth that ignited hope once more. "You're incredible, you know that?" he said, his voice thick with emotion. Mia shrugged, still focused on arranging the colorful flyers. "It's just what we have to do. Everyone needs to know what's happening." She paused, looking up at him with an intensity that felt almost ancient. "And we want them to care." He sighed, that warmth spreading through him, subdued yet invigorating. "You're right. They need to care. We all need to care." For the next hour, Mia filled the air with plans, her voice bubbling with ideas about how to reach everyone in the town. He listened, smiling at her unwavering optimism. Together, they brainstormed ways to turn the storytelling night into a community event, a festival of words and emotions. As the sun began to rise, painted orange and gold across the kitchen, Mr. Thompson's heart felt lighter. The knots of fear that had tangled within him melted away, strand by strand. He saw that whatever the outcome would be, they were not alone. Together, they would face the waves of uncertainty. Meanwhile, Emily was busy at her house, making her own plans. The dance of determination overtook her, equal to Mia's. She thought about the stories she wanted to share, the way her heart raced when imagining the audience's faces lighting up with understanding and shared experiences. She could feel it deep in her bones this was important, not just for Mr. Thompson, but for everyone. Later that day, they walked down the town square, giggling and draping flyers on every door, every window that would welcome them. The mood transformed, the thrill of anticipation buzzing in the air. Mr. Thompson watched Mia and Emily flap their arms in excitement, running from house to house, laughter trailing behind them like a cloud of joy. But as they reached the end of the street, Mr. Thompson caught sight of a few residents staring at the flyers with a frown. The weight of memories rushed over him, the same narrow-mindedness that had kept him away from this place for so long. Tonight could go either way, he thought, heart tightening. Mr. Thompson, what's wrong? Mia's voice cut through his thoughts. Panic flickered in her eyes. He took a deep breath. I just wonder if we're truly ready. Ready for what? Emily asked, tilting her head, concern shadowing her youthful features. Ready to face whatever may come our way, he said quietly. Their eyes shone, reflecting their youthful determination back at him. Together, we can do anything. Mia declared confidently, gripping Mr. Thompson's arm and pulling him forward. The path stretched out before them, full of both promise and uncertainty, but they were not turning back. As they approached the final home on the street, Mr. Thompson glanced down at the flyer in his hand. Let's make it count, he whispered. But was it really enough? And what would happen when storytelling night finally arrived? The day of storytelling night finally dawned, a canvas of pastel sky stretching overhead while the townsfolk began to gather in the old auditorium that had stood silent for far too long. Mr. Thompson felt like a fragile leaf caught in a gust of wind as he stood near the entrance, the excitement mingling with his anxiety. His heart raced, and he could hear the echo of laughter and chatter vibrating through the wooden doors. Mia and Emily scampered around him, blending in with the cheerful atmosphere, setting up chairs and arranging the refreshments table. Their energy was palpable, a bright thread woven into the tapestry of the evening. But as Mr. Thompson watched them, the shadows of his past loomed taller. Just breathe, he whispered to himself. He turned to Mia, who was attempting to balance a stack of cookies atop her head, giggling at her own antics. Mr. Thompson couldn't help but smile. She caught his gaze, and her laughter echoed warmly in his ears, soothing the nerves that twisted inside him. Mr. Thompson. Emily called, darting over with a sparkle in her eyes. Are you going to tell your story tonight? He opened his mouth, but the words stalled in his throat. How? How could he put years of heartache into a story that others might listen to and truly understand? What if it wasn't enough for them to embrace, to connect? Mia, Emily, are you both sure about this? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Absolutely. Mia declared, her eyes shining. Every story has power. Yours could change lives. As the hour approached, adults filled the seats, chatting with one another, while children ran amok in the aisles, their laughter ringing like music. The atmosphere pulsed with enthusiasm, but for Mr. Thompson, every laugh felt like a reminder of everything he was unaccustomed to. I can't do this, he whispered, stepping back before he turned to flee. But in that moment, Mia grabbed his arm, her grip firm and steady. You have to, Mr. Thompson. People need to hear you. You need to share. In her innocent conviction, he found a flicker of courage. Wasn't that what he had wanted all along? To be seen, to be understood. He took a shaky breath, scanning the room. Maybe he wasn't ready for the entire world, but perhaps sharing his heart with these familiar faces, individuals he had once called neighbors, could help thaw some of the ice that had encased him for so long. Okay, he said, surprising himself with the resolve in his voice. I'll do it. The clock struck 8, and Mia scurried to the front of the stage. Her small figure shone bright underneath the harsh lights, and excitement poured from her like sunshine through clouds. Welcome, everyone! She exclaimed, her voice bubbling over with enthusiasm. Tonight is about stories that connect us all. In that moment of natural grace, Mr. Thompson felt something inside him shift. As Mia introduced him, he saw the faces turn, eyes filled with anticipation. For the first time, they weren't judging, they were waiting for something real. He stepped toward the microphone, his heart pounding like a drum in his ears. "I am Mr. Thompson, and I have a story," he began, his voice raw but determined. The world faded around him as he began to speak, pouring out the memories he held so tight, the pain and the hope entwined. The shadows of doubt began to melt away, and for the first time in years, he felt lighter, more alive. As he looked toward Mia and Emily, their proud smiles beaming back at him, he realized this was only the beginning. What if, in sharing his story, he also sparked courage in someone else? Just then, he caught sight of a familiar face in the crowd, someone he hadn't seen in years, the past flooding back with vivid clarity. Is that? He thought, heart racing anew. Tonight was bound to bring unexpected surprises, and not just for him. What could unfold next as these threads of connection began to weave together? Mr. Thompson's breath caught in his throat as he spotted the familiar face amidst the crowd. It couldn't be, but it was. Catherine, his childhood friend, stood there, her warm smile washed over in memories of laughter and carefree days. The years melted away, and suddenly, he was a boy again, laughing alongside her, sharing secrets under the stars. His heart raced, drowning out the words tumbling from his lips. He stumbled over himself, but something deeper, something raw drove him forward. He had come to share his story, and it seemed the universe had conspired to thrust another chapter of connections into his path. Catherine's eyes lit up when she recognized him. Her hand flew to her mouth in surprise, a silent gasp escaping. It was in that moment that little Mia, ever the spirited whirlwind, leaped to the stage's edge, her voice ringing clear. "Mr. Thompson, tell us about your adventures. We're all listening." The room swelled with encouragement, and the crowd leaned in, eager to hear not just his words but the tales that lingered within them. Mr. Thompson locked eyes with Catherine, and a warm current passed between them, a reminder of the bond they once had. He took a deep breath and began to weave his story, threading it through the laughter of children, the whispers of nostalgia, and the unexpected joy of rekindling a past connection. "Many years ago, I was a different person," he began, his voice steadying as the moments poured out. "Life knocked me down hard, and in the struggles, I lost parts of myself along the way." He shared his joys, his sorrows, the way life twisted his heart until he thought it could take no more. But through the cracks, light found its way in. He felt the crowd's energy, there were tears in some eyes, smiles on others. The weight he had carried slowly lifted as he spoke, each word a healing balm. When he wrapped up, the room erupted into applause. Hearts beat as one, united in the emotional journey they had just traversed together. But beyond the accolades, he couldn't shake those unwavering green eyes Catherine's, which seemed to beckon him to discover what this reconnection might reveal. As the audience settled back, laughter erupted again as Mia chased after Emily, both giggling. Mr. Thompson watched in wonder. The joy floated in the air, but the shadows of doubt lingered in the corners of his mind. What if this wasn't the last he would see of Catherine? What if this was the spark not just for him, but for her, too? He approached her when the crowd began to thin, heart racing anew, words bubbling unformed. "Catherine, it's been a long time." "Well, you certainly didn't shy away from making an entrance tonight," she teased gently, her voice like a soft melody. There was something beautiful in her light-heartedness, a reminder of their shared past. But deeper questions began to surface within him. What had she experienced in those years? Did she still feel that bond too? Before he could voice any of his questions, Mia burst through, her excitement palpable. "Mr. Thompson. Can we do it again next month?" The idea took him by surprise. "Next month? You really want to?" "Of course. You have to keep telling stories," she insisted, eyes wide with enthusiasm. Catherine chuckled at the girl's enthusiasm, and Mr. Thompson felt warmth pooling in his chest. Maybe we could all tell stories together," he proposed, glancing at Catherine. "Would you like to join us, Catherine?" Her eyes sparkled surprisingly, hinting at emotions that mirrored his own. "I'd love to." The warmth of a rekindled friendship filled the space around them as they stood there, contemplating not just the night's magic but the many stories yet to be told. As Mr. Thompson felt the connection deepen, he realized something: the night wasn't just about stories shared, it was about finding new beginnings in old friendships. But what stories lay hidden within Catherine's heart? What past would she reveal, the catalyst for Mr. Thompson to explore a future he thought long lost? The weeks that followed storytelling night were filled with an energy that radiated through Maplewood. The once quiet town transformed into a vibrant canvas, painted by laughter, creativity, and budding friendships. Mia's infectious enthusiasm drove the momentum, setting up weekly gatherings at the community center where Mr. Thompson, Mia, Emily, and now Catherine shared their stories and talents. Together, they created a joyful space that welcomed everyone, stitching the fabric of the community closer. Mr. Thompson felt lighter with each passing day. The shadows that had once burdened him began to fade as the town embraced him anew. Children swarmed him with questions and stories, and adults found the courage to share their own struggles and triumphs, inspired by his honesty. He had become a bridge between healing hearts and renewed connections. One sunny Saturday, the community center buzzed with excitement as they prepared for the next storytelling session. Mia, her ponytail bobbing as she dashed around, grinned up at Mr. Thompson. "This is going to be the best one yet. I can feel it." "Absolutely." He beamed back. "And I'm ready with a big story for today." The words spilled easily now, the lightness in his soul made it effortless to share. Before the session began, he spotted Catherine helping to arrange chairs, her smile infectious and her laughter light. The warmth of rekindled friendship wrapped around him every time she was near. He felt like a boy again, buoyed by the innocence of their shared memories. "Are you ready to tell your story today?" he asked, wrapping his arms around the back of the chair. "I think so," she replied, her voice steady yet filled with a vulnerability that made his heart flutter. She glanced at the eager crowd gathering, their faces lit with excitement. "Do you want to go first?" Mr. Thompson felt a spark of bravery surging in him. "I find stories have a way of unraveling when we let them breathe." Catherine inhaled deeply, nodding. "I'd like that." She stepped forward, her aura shining with newfound confidence. Her story poured out, a melodic blend of her own struggles and triumphs, reflective of a life that had seen both darkness and meaningful light. As she spoke, Mr. Thompson felt pulled into her world. He remembered their childhood, their endless adventures, and the laughter that echoed through the halls of the school they once shared. But he could see Catherine had grown, just as he had. She was not the same girl from the past, but something more profound, a woman who could inspire others with her resilience. The audience listened, rapt, nodding along as she shared her experiences with overcoming hardships, how she had rediscovered her passion, and the spark of creativity that finally ignited her dreams. When she finished, the room erupted into applause, the sound washing over her like a warm embrace. Mr. Thompson caught her eye, and in that moment, they shared a knowing smile, a silent acknowledgement of the healing journey they had both embarked on. Following her story, Mr. Thompson took center stage, emboldened by his friend's bravery. With Mia's cheerleading support, he spoke of love, loss, and rebirth. Each word touched hearts, painting a vivid picture of the struggles that had shaped his identity. He noticed faces light up with recognition, understanding, and hope. He found strength in vulnerability, something he had never fully grasped before. Weeks turned into months, and with each gathering, the bonds within the community strengthened. Mr. Thompson's mansion, once a solitary fortress of loneliness, became a hub of creativity and joy, bursting with life and laughter. Neighbors came to visit, families held picnics in the sprawling garden, and children played without fear. Through their stories, Mr. Thompson and Catherine rekindled their connection, sharing more than just fleeting moments. They started collaborating on workshops, blending their talents, his storytelling and her artistic skills, creating a beautiful synergy that served their town. And then one evening, after a particularly vibrant storytelling night, as families left with smiles and neighbors embraced, Catherine turned to him with shining eyes. "It's amazing, isn't it? What happens when we connect?" "It truly is," Mr. Thompson replied, emotion thickening his throat. "I never knew the depth of love and community could reshape my life completely." Catherine took a breath, a tender smile breaking through the shadows of the past. "There's so much we can do together, you know. This is our second chance." He gazed back at her, heart aware of the bond that had grown strong. "I never wanted to hide from that chance again," he murmured, the words spilling forth like the truth he had long sought to uncover. As they stood side by side, surrounded by the warmth of a community brought together by stories, he felt a shift in his world, a dawning realization that healing begins with connection. And in the heart of Maplewood, surrounded by laughter and love, they both knew that their journey was just beginning. The doors of possibility opened wide. They were ready to embrace whatever came next together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues across the landscape, it felt like the beginning of a beautiful narrative woven with threads of hope, friendship, and the undeniable magic that comes from sharing one's heart. This was more than just storytelling, it was a testament to all they had overcome and all the wonders still waiting on the horizon. Embrace your own story, just as Mr. Thompson and Catherine did. Share your heart. Connect with those around you. You can change the world. Now, if you were inspired by this heartwarming journey, you need to subscribe now to the channel to catch the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm. We can't do this without your support. Tell us how this ending made you feel in the comments below, and don't let those memories fade away. Share instinctively this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show the world the power of love and connection. Don't wait not even one more second.